Welcome back, friends. This is Mitch Deutsch, and I'm truly glad you've joined us for day 2 of our 7-day Spiritual Awakening Challenge. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to center ourselves. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, and let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time, inhale and exhale. Feel yourself settling into this moment, right here, right now. Now let's briefly recap what we explored yesterday. We talked about awareness, that fundamental sense of being conscious, of knowing you exist. We practiced noticing this awareness that's always here, underlying all your experiences. If you found that a bit abstract or challenging, don't worry. Today we're going to get really practical and down to earth. So why are you here? If you're like most people who seek out this kind of material, something in your life feels off. Maybe you've achieved success by society standards, good job, nice home, relationships, but inside there's this nagging emptiness. Or perhaps you're constantly stressed, always chasing the next goal, but never feeling truly satisfied. You might be thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know that you're not alone and you're in the right place. Today we're exploring something that might be at the root of these feelings, the illusion of separation. Now, I know that sounds a bit out there, but stick with me. This is intensely practical stuff that can radically change how you experience your daily life. Let me explain what I mean by the illusion of separation. Right now, you probably feel like a separate you inside your head, looking out at a world that's out there. This feeling of being an isolated individual, separate from everything and everyone else, is so normal that we never question it. But this very assumption might be the source of a lot of our suffering. Let me share a real story that might help illustrate this. There's a man I know. Let's call him Mark. On paper, Mark had it all. He was a successful executive, had a beautiful family, a nice house in the suburbs, the whole American dream package. But inside, Mark felt empty and alone. He described it to me once as feeling like he was living life in a bubble, able to see others, but never truly connect. Mark's story isn't unique. I've heard variations of it countless times from people from all walks of life. Maybe you can relate to some degree. That feeling of disconnection, of something missing despite having all the external trappings of success. It's incredibly common in our society. Let's try a quick experiment. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen to the sounds around you. Don't label them, just experience them. Now see if you can find where you end and where the sound begins. Is there really a boundary between you and what you're hearing? Take your time with this. Really, investigate your experience. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Pause for about 30 seconds. What did you notice? Many people find that when they really look, they can't find a clear line where they end and the sound begins. It's all one seamless experience. This isn't just a neat trick. It points to something profound. Maybe we're not as separate as we think. And this realization can have huge implications for our lives. Think about it. Loneliness. If you're not really separate from everything else, are you ever truly alone? Anxiety. A lot of our fears come from feeling vulnerable as a separate self. What if that self isn't as solid as you thought? Relationships. How would you treat others if you deeply felt that they weren't separate from you? Nature. How would you interact with the environment if you felt intimately connected to it? Purpose. If you're not a separate entity, but an expression of the whole universe, how might that change your sense of purpose and meaning? Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying you should go around bumping into walls thinking you're one with them. On a practical level, we need to function as individuals. but recognizing our deeper connection can profoundly shift how we experience life. Let me share another story that might help this land. There's a woman I know, let's call her Julia. Julia had a successful career in marketing, a nice apartment in the city, good friends. On paper, everything looked great, but inside she felt empty and disconnected. She described it as feeling like she was living life behind a glass wall, able to see others but never truly connect. Julia started exploring these ideas of non-separation. At first, it all seemed very intellectual to her. But one day, while walking in a park, something shifted. As she looked at the trees, felt the breeze, heard the birds, she suddenly couldn't find where she ended, and all of this began. It was like the glass wall dissolved. In that moment, Julia felt a deep sense of belonging she'd never experienced before. The loneliness that had plagued her for years just vanished. And it wasn't just a momentary high. As Julie continued to explore this, she found herself feeling more connected in all her relationships. Her anxiety decreased. She even found herself naturally making more eco-friendly choices because harming the environment felt like harming herself. Julia's story illustrates something important. This understanding isn't just philosophical. It can have real, tangible effects on how we experience life. And while not everyone has a dramatic moment like Julia did, many people find that as they explore this, their experience of life gradually shifts in profound ways. Here are some practical exercises you can try. Throughout your day, pause occasionally and ask yourself, where do I end and the world begins? Don't try to figure it out intellectually. Just look at your direct experience. You might do this while eating, showering, or even during a conversation. When you're with other people, experiment with the idea that you're not separate from them. How does this change your interaction? You might find yourself listening more deeply or feeling more empathy. If you find yourself feeling lonely or isolated, remember this exploration. See if you can find where your loneliness ends and the rest of the world begins. You might be surprised at what you discover. When you're in nature, really allow yourself to feel part of it. Feel the air on your skin, the ground beneath your feet. See if you can experience yourself as nature experiencing itself. Before bed, spend a few minutes contemplating, what if I'm not separate from existence, but a unique expression of it? See how this feels. Does it change your perspective on your day or your life? Remember, this isn't about achieving some special state. It's about looking at your ordinary, everyday experience in a new way. And it's not about dismissing your individuality either. You're still you, with all your unique qualities. We're just exploring if that you is as separate as you've always assumed. Now, I want to address something important. As you explore this, you might encounter some resistance. Part of you might feel scared at the idea of not being separate. That's completely normal. Our sense of being a separate self is deeply ingrained, and it can feel threatening to question it. If you feel this resistance, don't fight it. Just notice it with curiosity. It's all part of the process. You might also find that this exploration brings up some emotions. Maybe you feel a sense of relief, or perhaps some sadness as you recognize how much the illusion of separation has impacted your life. Whatever comes up, allow it to be there. It's all valuable information. As we start to wrap up day 2, I want to acknowledge that this might feel strange or challenging. That's okay. We've spent our whole lives assuming we're separate, so it takes time to recognize our deeper connection. Be patient and gentle with yourself. This is a journey, not a destination. Tomorrow, we'll build on what we've explored today as we dive into the self and no-self paradox. We'll look at who or what we really are beneath our usual sense of self. It's going to be fascinating, so make sure you come back for that. Before we close, I'd like to guide you through a short meditation to integrate what we've explored today. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Feel the weight of your body wherever you're sitting or lying. Now, expand your awareness to include the sounds around you. Notice how these sounds are appearing in your awareness without any effort on your part. Can you find any separation between the awareness and what it's aware of? Just rest in this open, spacious awareness for a few moments. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Thank you for being here and for your willingness to explore these profound ideas. I invite you to share your comments below to help inspire others on their spiritual journey. If you're finding value in this series, please like and share this video. Your engagement helps more people discover these transformative ideas. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. In fact, you might be far less alone than you've ever realized. Until tomorrow, may you rest in the peace of your true, connected nature. With all love and light, namaste, my friends, and see you tomorrow in day 3 of our awakening adventure.